you said you wanted to learn some science this week.
Did I?
Yeah. So the title this week for that is Acid, I Would Sort You with Some Science Help. Acid, because that's...
How long did that take you to call?
Listen, well, you know, people love Karl. There's comedians come to me and go, Karl's the funniest man. They absolutely love him, right? But I think we're only seeing half of it, right? If we can get him on television, his face then, when he told me that title, was like a child at Christmas.
Yeah.
He was so proud of it. He was excited what I was going to... It was brilliant.
It's a bit like when a child's drawn a picture in art class. You know you've got to stick it on the fridge, but you basically think it's crap.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
All right, Karl?
Is that good?
Yes.
So we'll be doing that. Acid, I would sort you out with some science.
Brilliant. I forgot the puns in mind, didn't I? I forgot the puns.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right, so, you asked to sort of be taught some science and that last week after being taught about war, so did some research. And there's a few things, I think we'll just cover one of them now.
Go on.
We've talked a lot about hairy kids.
We have discussed
I love the fact that Simon Sharma has never started a programme like that. The Jacobites. We've talked a lot about hairy kids. Go on.
It's a little bit, I mean, it's not your traditional science stuff, but it's still interesting and it's a little bit, you know, it's still...
Yeah, we talk about hairy kids. We have disproportionately, honestly. I think this show's talked about hairy kids more than any other radio show.
Well, it's one that...
Sorry, I noticed both of you there dropped the H, or the H, or however it's pronounced.
I had to.
So airy kids, hairy children, not sort of airy, kind of light-headed or...
Yeah.
Well, there was the case of the one who lived in China.
Yeah.
And...
which was weird for two reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll go on.
One was like, he was covered in hair.
That's all we do,
And the doctor sort of checked him over and said, well, yeah, he is hairy, but he's quite healthy apart from he had a little bit of eczema and a boil. That was the main bit of the story, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But this one, right, we have sort of talked about it, and you weren't having any of it at the time.
What?
This next bit of science I'm telling you about.
Go on then.
Right? Remember when I told you about a lad? He was living at home with his mum and dad, right? Everything's, you know, normal life, going to school, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then, I think his mum and dad had an argument, and it kicked off a bit, and he thought, I'm sick of this. It's happening all the time now. They kept having arguments. So the kid ran off into the woods.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Right?
God.
Now, he left, he went and ran in the woods, and he ended up living with some monkeys.
Right.
Right? And he thought, this isn't a bad life, you know, there's no arguments going on.
Sure.
He was getting on with them. And the weird thing is, this is where the science bit comes in.
Oh, sure.
He grew a load of hair on his body.
That's not true. It's not true.
It is true.
It's an acquired characteristic.
I bet someone will back me up on this.
But no, you can't grow hair like that. You might get a little bit more down here. The erectile tissue might, you know, they won't fall out as much. But you don't actually grow a big mane if you're cold and you're a human.
Well, he did. This lad did. I know it sounds a bit strange in that, but he was living with the monkeys, and because it was cold, his body reacted to it. Listen.
He was no hairier than he would have been if he was walking around naked on a cold day, with or without living with monkeys.
The fact that he was living with monkeys makes no difference.
No, I know, but I'm trying to get, picture it in your head what it's like.
Although Mickey Dolenz was always pretty hairy.
Right? So he was living with them, and he went into town or something one day to get some food, and the people there were like, hang on a minute, that isn't a monkey.
He went in naked.
No, he was there covered in hair.
Yeah, but naked, but covered in hair, so it was decent. It was.
Yeah. But that was the weird thing. They thought it was a monkey in the shop. And then
so presumably he had a big long beard as well, because he couldn't shave, could he?
No, he just covered. He looked like a monkey.
And they were happy to serve the monkey, weren't they? There's a monkey.
How did he walk?
Milk.
How did he walk, Karl? Did he walk upright or whistling along?
The picture that I saw on the internet, he was on all fours, but I don't know if that's when he was running away after he did sort of, realised he was a kid. But this was a picture.
So he was a kid as well? He wasn't even like an adult with the beard?
No, he was a kid.
Brilliant. And the beard kicked in a little bit.
So listen, the people caught him.
You're an idiot.
People caught him, shaved him, right? Got it all off, didn't grow back again.
Right.
It
You're
grew.
an idiot.
Well, like I say, people will have heard this story or read about it.
You're an idiot.
And they'll email in. They don't let me down.
And they'll agree that you're an idiot.
No, they'll have seen the story.
You're an idiot.
So there's a little bit of science.
Right, okay. So have you got anything that is science as opposed to nonsense?
Well,
Kid went off with some monkeys, grew hair, came back, shaved him, it didn't grow back. I mean, just think. Right, something else.
There's a few things I found.
Yeah.
There's a fella
God.
who had hiccups for 69 years. That was a bit annoying.
Yeah.
There's the dog with the wig that we've discussed.
Imagine if you just tuned in.
Yeah.
There's the dog with the wig that we've already discussed.
Did we discuss that?
Not really.
Did I not tell you what he said? I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What else have we got? Well, there's something here that you sort of know.
Is this going out live?
Yeah, this is happening, right?
Go on.
But remember when you talked about sponges?
Yeah.
If you get a red sponge and a blue sponge.
You liquidise them, pour them back into a tank. After a few hours, that they know which was which, and they reform as a red sponge and a blue sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird when you told me.
Yeah.
Looked it up, did a bit of research.
Yeah.
Thought that's sort of sciencey.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with a mouse's brain.
Okay. Explain a bit more.
No, you can't.
If you get a dead mouse, put its brain into a blender, blend it up, leave it standing for a bit.
Making that up, aren't you? You're confusing this. You watch Nigella Lawson make some sort of pudding.
No.
What do you mean? It won't work with the brain.
Well, it does with a. I mean, not human brain. Don't be trying that.
Although,
no, a mouse one. A mouse one.
And what happens?
It sort of reforms, goes back together again. No, it's because apparently it's made up of the same stuff as.
But it doesn't, does it? Because if it's dead, if it's a dead brain, the cells can't act anyway. The fact the sponge is that it doesn't kill the cells, it liquidises them, it doesn't kill the cells. So it couldn't be a dead brain anyway. It would have to be a live brain taken out from a live mouse for the cells to be getting oxygen and working and being sensitive to each other. And that, I don't see how that could work like it does in sponges.
I mean, do you know what I mean?
You're not a scientist.
I've just sort of read it and gone, oh, that's interesting. I'll tell Ricky and Steve about it.
Yeah.
You're quizzing me as if I've come up with it. It's someone else has done it and said it works.
Sure.
So I'm not.
Do you think ghosts are behind it, or do you think there's a scientific explanation for it?
No, it's just one of them weird things, isn't it? Yeah. So that's what you sort of science covered for this week.
Well, that was another barnstorming feature.
Is that it? Is that the two things you got this week?
Thanks very much for that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
there's nothing behind them. Do you know what I mean by this? There's not like a weight of intellect behind these facts.
Why don't you make that your science project for this week? Find a dead mouse somewhere, Carl, and a blender, and bring that in next week. We'll do it live on air and see what happens.
Oh. Do you feel sort of let down a little bit sometimes with our reactions?
Well, what are you expecting us to do? What are you expecting us to just look at you, open-mouthed, staring at you in awe?
Just go, oh God, yeah. Where did you find that out?
We know.
Tell us.
We know where you found it out. You looked on the internet and a strange homemade website by a maniac somewhere who puts on stupid things that he heard through Chinese whispers. That's where you get your information from. I doubt that anything you've ever come up with is verified. If it is, it's luck.
But what do you expect me to do for you? Do you know what I mean? I'm just.
Do you know, I'd like to know what the source of the information is. I'd like it to be, a research study by the University of Columbia, rather than, a guy who calls himself Mr. Pickles. On a website somewhere, www.lunatics.com.
I mean, oh God!
Some kind of evidence. Do you know what I mean?
I must warn you now. You know that Steven Spielberg thing's coming, Taken, yeah, about alien abduction. When you watch it, just remember this: it's not a documentary. Okay?
Rick John has emailed in. It looks here like he's maybe trawled the web himself. I mean, I don't know if people just immediately leap onto the web every time Carl says something in his defence.
I think our listeners are always on the web.
Anyway, he seems like he's reprinted here a news story, which seems to confirm Karl's Monkey Boy story.
Yeah, what was the news
Doctors
story?
baffled by boy 6 covered in ape-like hair. Doctors in Kazakhstan are baffled after finding a 6-year-old boy covered in ape-like hair.
Yeah.
The boy, called Ablay, was found in a remote mountain village close to the Chinese border. He's covered in thick hair from head to toe and has an oval-shaped skull. Doctors suspect nuclear radiation or a genetic disorder may be responsible.
Fine.
But there's an interesting bit
But,
here.
but sorry, it's not that you could have genetic defects. I've seen lots of people born with long noses, 5 feet, etc. I'm saying that he wasn't normal. He wasn't normal, and then went to live with monkeys and grew the hair.
Well,
that's my point.
But it says his mother and father are distant relatives. Such marriages are common in the Kazakhstan mountain hamlets. Now, the village elders were consulted as to what to do with him, right? Now, these are the village elders. These are the wise men of the village. These are people, presumably, that all year long are telling the village how to live, how to survive.
Yeah, you're in charge because you've lived longest.
Yeah, exactly. You're presumably solving any kind of moral conundrums, any sort of awkward things. Do you know what they suggested that they do with their hairy son?
Go on.
Send him to the circus.
The Carl's nodding.
Put him in the circus. That was what they suggested, and the mother actually wanted him to go to school.
Instead, I don't know, school or circus, I don't know. We don't know what's better for him.
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
We must consult the elders.
What do you think, Carl?
It's not a bad life, is it?
What, the circus?
Yeah.
Well, you ran away from it.
Yeah.
Love it. But remember that thing that I saw about that fella who... I don't have to talk about it with this.
Go on. Tell us now. You've hooked me. Come on. You can say it. It's okay. What, are you worried that it might be insulting to someone?
Well, it's not nice, but...
Well, you're not taking the mickey out of it. You're telling us... Go on.
It's just... It was in that book again that you got me. You know, the book full of weird people.
Go on.
And things that are wrong with them, and hairy people, and...
Yeah.
Like with 3 legs and that. There's a fella... basically just a head and a little body on a skateboard.
Yeah.
Right? Picture of him on the shave. And he was shaving with his mouth bit.
With his tongue.
Like that on the radio.
Yeah. Just like
Carl is now doing an impression of a man shaving with his mouth.
Yeah. Well, it's just a head, bear in mind. He's doing an impression. Imagine a head with a very tiny body on a skateboard shaving with its tongue. That's what Karl was doing.
And he was depressed because he kept getting hats for Christmas.
But if you were him, you would just grow a beard, wouldn't you, rather than... rather than go through all that hassle.
You're caught in the wheels of his skateboard.
Do you know the other week when I came up with like a different idea of how we can sort of make the world run and that?
Can we just have a quick recap of that? Because I seem to remember it was a load of old arse.
It was ridiculous. It was. He was saying that the world is overpopulated, so the system would be where people were living too long and stuff. So what happens is people live till 78. I don't know how he can enforce that, right? Yeah. But when they die, they've got a little baby in their stomach, right, like a pip in an apple, that then carries on when they die. Right. It wasn't a theory. It wasn't an idea. It was the ramblings of a mental case.
You're saying it's stupid, but someone's emailed in and said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good."
Yeah, and okay, I'm asking you again. Was the letter written in shit?
Anyway, listen, right.
Did it say the mental home, Mars?
I've been thinking about it, right? And if we can't do that, right? If that's a no to that, right?
Well, it's not a question of whether we can do it or not.
Just saying, if that's a no, right? I've been thinking.
It is a no. This is going to be brilliant.
There's a lot of weird.
You could win the Nobel Prize for this.
But listen, there is a lot of ways, isn't there, in the world that some creatures and that go about sort of moving on. If you know what I mean. Evolution, you mean? Yeah, there's a lot of, like, on that David Attenborough programme that he's doing at the moment, he's always showing you little insects and what they've got to do, and there was one about a wasp, right, that had to fly about, right, for ages, looking out for a certain type of spider, right? It lays its egg in the spider. When I saw it, it whizzes down, right? It lands on its back, so that he's got to get that right? It lands on it. I don't think the spider's up for anything. That isn't even aware of this is how things move about. He's not going, I've got to look out for a wasp. So all this is like, it's got to be perfect timing. Yeah. So this wasp dived down, right, sat on the back of this spider. It injects it or something with a maggot or something. Right? And then that maggot then lives off the spider for a bit. The spider knows it's got a maggot in it. No, it doesn't. It does. No, it doesn't. And it's making a web for it. It goes, I've got something to look after here now. I've got responsibilities. It makes a web, right? It sort of reverses into it and puts the maggot on the web. The maggot sort of clings onto the web. Spider's there. Maggot eats the spider, and then it moves on. if I came up with that idea for like a method, you'd say that's never going to happen.
No, Carl. It's not the fact that you came up with the idea, right, for an old lady dying at 78 with a baby growing in her that then lives on. It's nonsense. It's no idea. It's how can it be enforced? It's like, so even if scientists thought that was the best idea in the world, how would they enforce it? Who's going to go, that's a good idea, we've never thought of that.
Yes, but what I'm saying
Get in Elsie.
Who told the wasp to look out for that spider, to go on its back, to do, you know...
What do you mean you told the wasp?
It's
evolution, it's natural selection.
Yeah, but I can understand, you know, we've chatted about it before about giraffes having a long neck, but you're talking about a wasp and a spider who...
That's because you're attributing a thought and will behind their behaviour. Behaviour in humans is linked with a free will.
Yeah, but most of what we do, say like how we have a kid at the moment, you don't just jump on the back of a woman and go, there you go, love, and then the baby pops out.
You do if you come from Bristol.
No, what I'm saying is, right, it's all, you build up to it, don't you? You have that bit of a chat and you go, right, how's it going? Yeah, and you get on and that, and then a little baby will come out.
This is the most...
Wait. Well, I'm going to go back to the dating procedure there. You have a chat, you go all right, and then a little baby comes out. That's extraordinary.
This is amazing.
No, I'm sorry.
This is incredible.
I tell you, two-bit radio's gain was secondary school's loss. It really was.
What I'm saying is,
this is my first Pilgrim book. Unbelievable.
What I mean is, we all get on. What I'm saying is, at what point is a wasp ever going to have a chat with a spider or meet up with it?
I don't even understand where we are now in this conversation.
What point is a wasp going to ever have a chat with a spider? No. What world do you live in? What's in your head?
No,
I can't believe it. Carl, what point is a wasp ever going to have a chat with a spider?
So in some kind of weird insect nightclub, these wasps and these maggots are meeting, they're getting on. Is that how you're imagining it?
That's what I'm saying to you. What are the odds on that actually happening?
But listen. You'll think because behaviour in lower forms of life is purely chemical. It's purely, it bypasses any form of consciousness. Right? There's a parasite that's like a flatworm, a platyhelminth, or it might be a nematode. It's some sort of invertebrate.
Sure.
Yeah, that it lays its egg. The beginning of its cycle is in a stickleback, okay, and it literally has to change the stickleback's behaviour, okay, because it has to get into a warm-blooded animal to complete its cycle. So what it does is this parasite makes the stickleback not flee from the shadow of a heron, so it makes the stickleback get eaten, right? So it then is in the belly of a warm-blooded animal and it can complete its life cycle. But at no point is the nematode or the platyhelminth, whatever it is, going, slow down, there's a heron coming, stay here. And the stickleback going, why? I don't want to stay, there's a heron. There's no conversation. It's not they get together and go, listen, I've got something that might be mutually beneficial to both of us. I need to get into a heron. You like to be eaten by a heron? No, I don't. Where's this conversation?
Yes, you do. It's got Jedi powers.
Yes, you do.
No, all I'm saying is, you know, the idea that I came up with, you're sort of saying that's a crazy...
It's not an idea. It's not an idea.
How many times have we heard all I'm saying is, and then such a stream of nonsense that it's blown our minds?
No, but that's all I'm saying. That, you know, what you've just explained there with the heron having to knock about and for a flea to be sat in the shade and that.
Now see that is incredible. That translation of what I said that sums it up for me. Yeah. He sees a headline, he reads a book. It then goes through this weird filtering system with, I imagine, the music in his head is discordant piano.
I think the noise in Carl's head is like a fax machine. If you've ever got that out full body.
I think it's like a Czechoslovakian cartoon from 1963.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like noises like woks being hit and pianos just being hit by the elbow.
He's the only person you can give him a body of information and he strips away the facts.
But the way he said that, I talked about clearly talked about some sort of parasite in a stickleback that makes its behaviour change so it doesn't flee the heron's shadow. He said, so there's an heron with a flea who doesn't like the shade. How did it come up? I mean...
it doesn't matter, forget that, right? But
What's your theory? What
I'm saying is I've come up with something else that I want to run by you then.
Go on then.
So you've sort of boo-booed the idea...
Boo-booed.
Boo-booed. We have boo-booed it.
He shows a completely different bear. Yeah. It was originally Poo-Poo the bear, but now it's Boo-Boo the bear. Brilliant.
So you've said no to, the old woman having a kid, right, before she dies. What about if we do it the other way, right?
Go on.
Somehow, I don't know how
a kid has an old lady?
That's what it's going to be, isn't it? A child will give birth to an old man.
No.
Right.
What I'm saying is, right...
Go on.
Work the other way round.
Come on then.
So if somehow we can inject something in like a body that's just died, right?
Listen to this. Imagine this is notes. So when he hands it into the Nobel people, and they go, if there's a way that we can inject something, they go, well, what? Well, I don't know the chemical formula, but something HO2.
Right. So anyway, you inject it in the temple.
He's narrowed it down to the temple.
Well, that's
fine.
Right.
Yes, we inject something.
So you inject it in.
Who are you injecting?
This old woman who's she's been ill and that she died.
So she's dead. So we're bringing old people back to life. Okay, fine. That's step one. We just got to sort that out first. But fine, we'll crack that. Go on, next. So we brought people back from the dead. Fine.
Yeah, but this is a way of controlling population, remember. They can't be having it away and having kids. This is just the way we...
Okay, so there's an old lady. So we start now as the world is now. So what happens?
Right, so you get like an old woman.
Who's dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inject her and that.
Inject her.
And then what happens is she sort of wakes up.
Amazing.
Right? And she works the other way. So like she might be 77.
Yeah.
And then she'll have a birthday, she's 76. And she's working that way.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Are you with me?
No, keep it.
Because the thing is, you've got...
I'm really scared.
Yeah.
I'm really scared. This is the maddest thing you've ever said. This is madder than the old lady with the pip like an apple in her belly.
It sort of did work.
No, it didn't work. It worked in your head. It's like a dream that you wake up and go, oh, I've got a great theory.
This is it. Let me just tell you the ending, because the ending works out a bit better.
Go on.
What I'm saying is, when you die, at the age of...
78.
9 months...
What?
At the age of 9 months, because that's when you come out...
What do you mean when you die at the age of 9 months?
You're not scared of dying, because you're now a baby, so you don't know what's going on anyway. So there's no fear.
So you missed out a bit here. So this woman, literally gets younger and younger?
I think when she's in her 20s, she's in her old age, Rick.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because that's the fun part of your life, isn't it? When you're 20, and you've got all your energy and that. So before you die, you're actually having a good life, rather than it being the other way around.
But does she do different stuff than she did on the way up? Because she's already lived 78 years, hasn't she? Don't forget. She was a baby once, and she grew to 78 years. Then someone stuck a needle in her head and said, right, back you go.
No, we'll forget all that bit.
I'll forget all that bit. How will I forget that bit?
What I'm saying
So
is...
she died and she doesn't remember all her... This is a new life, is it?
Let me just leave you with this.
Right, you're talking shit. Explain yourself.
What I'm saying is, old people are scared of dying. When they're 77, they go, oh, what's going to happen to me? Little injection in the head. When it's a baby, when it's like 1, and everybody around it's going, yeah, it's going to die soon. Baby hasn't got a clue. It's happy. It's playing about with its rattle or whatever.
So it loses all its memories.
That's it.
And then what happens? So when does it die? When it gets to 0? When it's 0 days old, it goes through.
It just dies. People know it's almost like a countdown. So the family's aware of it.
But aren't the family getting younger as well? What's happened to the family?
Forget it then. We'll leave it as it is.
No, leave it as it is, shall we?
Shall we? Can we all agree on that, guys? Now, should we agree to leave it as it is? Is that all right? Because I don't want to hear any more from the diaries of Charles Manson.
No, it's. I mean, you're a fucking maniac.
If you're a maniac and you'd like to get in touch, then please email us at podcast@rickygervais.com.
We've had a heat wave here in the capital city, haven't we, Carl?
It's been hot, hasn't it?
It's been up to 100 degrees, record-breaking temperatures.
Yeah.
What have you been doing then?
Sort of enjoyed it a little bit. Was out and about.
Yeah?
Getting to see the place, having loads of walks and that. I like to have walks. You know, watching what
like
people
a dog.
are doing.
Yeah! When he jumps off the couch and starts scratching against the door.
Suzanne thinks it's time for another walk.
It's just good thinking time, though, isn't it? As well, having a walk. You've got no other clutter going on around you. And you just think about a lot of stuff. And, you know, like say, with the weather being hot and stuff, a lot of insects knocking about.
Right.
So I've just been watching them.
So while we've been filming a TV show, you've been watching insects?
Yeah, just seeing, because everybody knows insects are out there, but no one's keeping